What you're about to see is very fast chess, bullet chess at the highest level. How does the best player in the world, Magnus Carlsen, play bullet chess? Against another top player, Dr Nykterstein. As we go through each live game, whenever there's a key moment, I will stop and analyze that key moment before returning to the game. If it's your first time here, hello, my name is William. Let's begin. Let's check out how Magnus Carlsen takes on the King's Indian defense. That is something else. So scary, man. Knight h5, oh my gosh. King's Indian defense. Bishop c5, the lesser Simigan variation. Knight e1, knight d3 is possible, e4 is possible, knight d3 is such a nice way to play. Couple of knights and 3 pawns in the center. c4, c6, knight c3 and bishop f5. White now goes for knight e1. The idea is to get e4 in, but also to reroute that knight to d3. Queen c8. Trying to get these bishops off. e4, bishop h3, knight d3. 3 pawns in the middle, 2 knights in the middle. Perfect position for white. Take, take. And after knight d7, bishop e3. Really, really nice position for white. Knight d7, planning to strike somehow. d5, lock it up. And then rook c1. White is just playing for free. Rook c1, there's also queen b3 as well. And you just put pressure. And if rook b8, well then a4, you put even more pressure. e5, d5, take, take, and really, after a6, rook c1, this is an absolute dream position for white. He's playing for free. At the moment, black hasn't even started his kingside attack. Let's consider the factors. White has more space, his pawns are further advanced. You've got all 3 minor pieces in the middle, so they have the chance to face the queen side to cause some damage. Bishop is controlling all these squares, knights can hop in later, and also the rook is on the c-file. It's absolute, this is a dream position for white. Queen d8, queen b3, attacking the pawn. b5, and you can smash that structure. After f3, knight h5, we can go a4, just smashing open this structure. Destroying it, finding a clear way through. Take, take, lots of entry squares for white. Defend your center, a4, chip away at the black queen side, take with a knight, finding a way in. Rook c6 is there, look at this, absolute dream position for a King's Indian player. But black always has counterplay, that's the problem. King h3, that is something else. Knight f4 check, you take with the rook or the pawn. Bishop g3. f5, now knight b4. Lots of ways for white to get his pieces in. Another way was rook c6. Just targeting that pawn straight away. f4, bishop f2. Which is actually what happened in the game. After knight b4, f4, he played bishop f2, which is actually a blunder, and black had a way to try and crash through. A better move was bishop d2, because after queen g5, threatening knight g3, you can go rook f2 and try to hold on. I don't really like it, because you're just trying to hold on. I mean, crashing through like this, well, it looks dangerous, but you defend. It is possible to defend in this way. I mean, black only has a queen in the attack. Bishop f2 played, take, take, and black is actually crashing through. Queen g5, threatening knight f4 check. King h3, knight f4 check. Black put the wrong piece on f4. Rook f4 was a really cool move. Planning to double. First question, you cannot take the rook because after knight f4 check is game over. You're going to have mate on g2. Rook f4. Let's say you just get the king out of the way. Double rooks. Rook c3, defending along the 3rd rank. Knight f6. So really, you're getting every single piece in the attack. Bishop e1, and you can still crash through. Bishop e1, take, take, and knight h5. Really cool way to try and just sacrifice and just crash through. Knight h5. If you take, then rook takes f4. This rook is actually going to go to h4, and it's just checkmate. So this was one way for black to continue the attack. But after king h3, black played knight f4 check. Take, take. I mean, it's very close to mate. Queen h5. Any piece on the h-file will be mate. Bishop g3. So scary, man. Knight f6. Knight d3. Knight h5. Oh my gosh. Take. Maybe you take with the pawn. And then what? Here. And then, but then the king hides. Even knight f4 is possible. Rook c7, queen b7 as well. Threatening to come in here. Knight f6, ignoring the rook. Knight d3, getting... You've got a knight, bishop and a rook in the defense, so got to bring this knight back in the game. Knight h5, bishop takes f4, but after e takes f4, threatening queen g3 mate. White now goes rook g1 and the attack is stopped. Knight g3. If queen h6, I think you just get the king out of the way. Get the king off the h-file. Knight g3 played, rook c7. It's time for white to generate his attack. Get the queen in to the 7th rank as well. Very dangerous. White is taking over. Bishop d4. Ignore it. That's the really cool thing. Bishop attacks the rook, but who cares? You go queen b7 because queen takes rook is mate. Bishop d4, queen b7. Bishop e1, then rook g7. Okay, played. You sack the rook because there's mate for him. Now, if bishop e1, queen g7 is mate. You go queen b7 because queen takes rook is mate. So your threat is greater, so you just ignore it. Queen b7, rook f8, rook takes h7. White is the one who's got an attack. You cannot take this because this bishop is guarding the g7 square. So queen g7 would be mate. Rook takes pawn, bishop back to f6, knight takes f4. Carlsen, he just gets rid of the defender to the knight. And after take, rook g3, game over. Mate for him. Now, if bishop e1, queen g7 is mate. So bishop f6, knight f4, and now rook g3. Now rook g6. So white is the one who's coming in. Black is just down too much material. He's going to get mated very soon. Rook takes g6 is next. White's got a great position out of the opening, then black got an attack, but he didn't play the best moves. So then white refuted his attack and ended up winning. By the way, here's YouTube's suggestion for what to watch next. But if you don't like their option, you might like Checkmating Carlsen in 30 Seconds by Dr Nykterstein. But if you don't like that one, you might like Alireza Firouzja beats Carlsen in 29 seconds. Thanks for watching.